Hey everybody and everybody. Hey, how y'all doing? Good morning, good morning. Come on in. Hey, let me go and share myself out, y'all. Make sure I'm live. Supposed to be live. Good morning, good morning. I can't see nothing. Oh, there you go. I'm live, bub. Hey y'all, come on in. How y'all doing? Welcome in, welcome in. I'm up here sharing me out. So listen, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe if you on YouTube. Follow on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, to hit that thumbs up for me, I would appreciate it. Also, throughout this conversation, you just tap those reactions. Okay? There's one for you. Whatever you think, and they have a reaction for it. And yes, there are reactions on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. And please share me out. Share me to your favorite place. Wherever you hang out, share me out over there. Okay? And let's share myself. Share it. Well, hey, I see y'all coming in. How y'all doing? Just to get to those comments, just give me a minute. Good morning, good morning. Well, I don't know. Let me try it again. It ain't showing me on YouTube. My channel. Ah, there you go. There you go. Yes. Okay. All right. Now let me use it. Hey. Y'all doing all right? I'm just getting home from that IEP meeting for Zane. Ugh. That's why we're running a little late. Oh, Lord. Baby, there go the alarm. Y'all heard it. So, we just getting back from our IEP meeting with Zane. It was a good meeting. It was an IEP meeting. It was an hour and a half long. But I think, people, I don't know what people expect from an IEP meeting, but I think that an IEP meeting should be at least an hour. Even if it's a great IEP meeting and everybody agrees on the accommodations and those different type of things, quality IEP meeting should take at least an hour. Ours was an hour and a half because, I have had to learn some things, figure some things out, and get some things in place because Zane's IEP has not always been followed correctly. They haven't always given him his accommodations. They haven't always done the things that are in the IEP, which an IEP is an individualized education plan. And it's also a legally binding document for the school and the parents. Like, it's a binding document, it's an agreement, and concerning the student. And so you do it once a year. And then if you want to change anything, there's any problems, anything like that, then you do an amendment meeting if it's within those 12 months. So last year, I had 9 amendment meetings. The year before that, I had 11. So there's been really a lot of issues with Zane. With his IEP being followed, his accommodations being done like they're supposed to do. And for those that don't know, what the Prince, what is this? Yeah, I gotta delete you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna block you. Because that's a whole paragraph. Like, what are you doing? We don't do that over here, them paragraphs and stuff. There's no need for that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So anyway, Zane's IEP. So they don't always follow it. I've had issues. The last meeting I had at the school was actually with someone in administration. Hello, how you doing? I've also been to, the school district offices. Like, I'm that parent who I don't know what else I'm doing, but I'm going to advocate for my children. So I'm doing all right. How you doing? So that was what happened today. We had an IEP meeting, the annual one, not an amendment. And but I had to let them know at the last meeting, listen, I have the evidence that your teachers are not following this legally binding document. And my next move is an attorney, just so we're clear. So we're going to see if they heed or heard what I said, because I don't play about Zane. Zane have enough things he deal with, with his diagnoses and his therapies and all of this stuff. He loves school. The only reason Zane still go to public school is because the only private schools around me are Christian based. Yeah, no, we're not going to a Christian based school. No, Robert said, I cannot send friend requests from this page. This page is in professional mode. I can only get followed. I cannot send a friend request. Good morning. So, I'm very adamant about that. I don't, like I said, the only private school options locally are Christian based schools. And listen, it's not for me or my family. We're not doing it. And they're not accredited private schools. They're not, it's not Montessori. That if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. But it's not a Montessori school. Listen, you have to be real careful with private schools because they don't have to meet state required standards, right? So that means they don't have to necessarily teach all the things either. So you got to make sure it's a quality private school. There ain't one of them near me. So he goes to public school. We tried FLVS. We had Zane at home, and that's Florida virtual school for those that not Florida and don't know. And he did very well, but he misses the social aspect. That's one of the things where Zane's autism is not so textbook or what people would expect is because he loves to be social. He is a social butterfly. He get that shit from me for his mom. He get it from me. It's just clear. But he loves it. So he loves school. So when we were doing FLVS and we did it for kindergarten first and then into second, but in second grade, he said to me, I don't like not going to school because I want to see my friends. Now, at the time, he was playing t-ball, baseball. So he was, he was around his friends and they were all in school. So, hello, Miss Krista, how you doing? So when he said that, I was like, oh. So, with his diagnosis and stuff, of course, we had a further conversation. I wanted to understand what he was saying. And he let me know, that he likes being around people. He likes school. Now, he doesn't like the noise, like in the cafeteria at lunchtime. It gets a little overstimulating after so long in there. He doesn't like, all the pushing and touching and kids do, right? But he doesn't want to be at home. He doesn't. He loves to go to school. So because I love him and respect his choices, right? Even though he's 11, he still has things he likes or don't like, right? My job in that capacity is to advocate for him, to make sure he gets to go to school. That's what he loves. So, and he does well at school. Zane is in all general education classes. Good morning, Audrey. How are you doing? Hey, Natasha, how you doing? He is in all general ed classes. So he only gets pulled for like 45 minutes a week. That's it. He gets pulled 30 minutes for speech, and then he gets pulled 15 minutes starting in the new IP year for self-advocacy, self-awareness, asking him questions about daily living, just learning to speak for himself. So it'll be 15 minutes a week that they'll work on that, which we work on that at home. So it's not that big a deal. And, but we don't medicate Zane for any of his diagnoses, which there's only one diagnosis he has that they medicate, and that is his ADHD combined type. He has combined type ADHD. But we have never put him on medicine. The only medicine he takes is, besides his asthma medication, is he takes melatonin to sleep because, as you know, a lot of children with Zane's diagnosis don't sleep well. So he's been on melatonin most of his life. So, yeah, that and this is my first cup of coffee, so I'm sorry, but yes, I'm drinking it right here because I ain't had no coffee yet, and it's 11:24. It's been busy morning. So, that is why I advocate for him. But in advocating for him as his mom, I don't have any school education type background. Y'all know my background's in medicine, nursing, and medicine as a hospital corner, right? So I didn't know anything. Thank God I had my best friend who is an ESE guru, but a lot of things I had to learn on my own. I had to read, I had to research, I had to understand the laws from the Department of Education. I had to read and understand Zane's diagnoses, and I had to read and understand how to advocate in order to put that all into one ball that is best for Zane, that will make an environment when Zane is at school that he can thrive. So Zane is a straight A student. He makes A's. There's things in place. For instance, one of his IEP accommodations is that going into this next year is that the teachers will send home the work for the week. prior to them getting into it. So that way I can reinforce with Zane at home what they're doing in school. She didn't like in person at school at all. Miss Crystal, I would listen. Mommy, parent heart, right? Mommy heart. I did not. And a lot of it has to do with the district where I am. It's just not a great school district. It really isn't. So the private schools are garbage. So that'll just let you know about the public school. I'm just saying. It's a very rural area that I live in. So, my heart was broken when he expressed that he wanted to go back to school because he missed the social aspect. Which, listen, I can't give you all that social you get at school without insurance, baby. That's above my pay grade. I don't even got that type of energy. And when he said it, my mommy heart broke a little bit because I knew what that would look like for us because of Zane's Ginger. Do not go down that hallway. Sorry, y'all. That's my toy poodle. She trying to go down the hallway. She like to go in the hallway to go to the boys' rooms to look for snacks and treats. She looking for crumbs to eat. She can't go down the hallway. Anyway, but she know all the bedrooms is down that hallway. So that was she going. Not on my watch, ma'am. Sit down. Come here. Anyway. So hello, good morning, Sunday. Hello, welcome in. So because I know he was getting more from being at home. Also with his autism, apraxia of speech, and his ADHD combined type, and he also has receptive and expressive language disorders. Working one-on-one is best for him. However, if he's miserable and he unhappy, he's not going to do his best ever, right? Let's just be clear. If you're an adult, you know that. Hello, Penelope. Wrong page. You can go over to Kendra G. If you was looking for somebody to date, I don't got nothing, nobody. We don't do that over here. Okay. Thank you. So, I really was very hesitant to put him back in school. And so since he's been back in public school, it has been just terrible trying to get everybody on the same page for this IEP, because I educated myself enough. Medically, it was easy to learn about his diagnoses, put all that stuff in place for me, right? I mean, I've been in the medical field since 1995. So I understood how to put that part all together. It was translating his diagnoses to his academics and what he needed in school. Hello, Helen. Thank you for joining. Welcome in. Feel free, if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to type them in the comments and I will read them and answer your question or whatever based on what you say. So you're welcome to engage. Thank you. So it was figuring out how to translate that so that what the IEP says is legally binding document that is written with teachers and ESE specialists and me and BSB. Y'all know his daddy be there now. Written on all of our ideas and thoughts and things, but it has to fall within the legal parameter of the Department of Education. So there's all of these entities that have say so for the I am finally in a place where, like yesterday, one of Zane's teacher, the one that was doing the IEP for the meeting today, she texted me and she said, I'm working on the draft for tomorrow's meeting. Is there anything that Ginger, do not go down that hallway. I don't know who left the door open. And she was asking me if there's anything I want to put in, and I was like, nah, I'm working on my own draft. So what I have learned is, one, if your child gets an IEP, has an IEP or a 504 at school, you can request a copy of the draft 2 weeks prior to your meeting. Now, when you request that, most of the time what you're going to get is the old IEP. See, this is what I've learned. So I already have an IEP. I don't got to wait on them for a draft. I just write on the old IEP. I'll make a copy of it, and then I write on there. I scribble on it. Baby, that thing look like a map when I'm done with it. Baby, it's roads and signs and stars all over the thing, right? So I write in there. Because when I'm looking at it, then I can see what we're already doing, and I can adjust that based on what is or is not working currently for Zane, right? So that's why I have the draft. But now that I've learned that when you ask for the draft, they just gonna give you the damn old IEP. I just make a copy and use the one I got here. Right? But you legally can request that draft 2 weeks prior to your meeting, depending how much time you need. I used to do it like a week out because I'll be done forgot. It'll just be sitting around here taking up space, baby. No, when I get it, I like to work on it. So that's what I do. Before every meeting, I have my own IEP. What'd you say, Miss Crystal? IEP plans are great. They're better than the 504. Well, I don't know that one is better, but the difference in the 504 and the IEP is the diagnoses and the services, right? You have to have a academic related diagnosis from the school to have a need through the school saying you need it for IEP. A 504 isn't as in depth and does not cover the same things that IEP does. So a 504 is not a bad document, and that is what some children need. A 504 is simple and easy for some children, but some children need more detailed accommodations. And so that is where you transition to the IEP. So not everyone can get an IEP, so they don't get to choose, hey, I want an IEP or a 504. That's not up to the parent. It really is based on the legality, the legal parameters they have put around whether you qualify for a 504 or you qualify for an IEP. So you have to understand that, right, in order to know which one will work for you, or if they're just trying not to give you all the things you need. Because listen, not all school districts are out to help the kids. Some school districts, especially in the day that we living in currently with public school, listen, if I was making $30,000 a year, I might not act right either. I might not want to be bothered either. Teachers are very underpaid. However, you sign a contract to do your job for the year, so do it. And if you're tenured or in a union, you've been doing this long enough that you really should just do your job, right? And IEP, 504s, those are part of education. Period. Whether you're public, private. Now, the private school may not accommodate the IEP. However, you still have the information available to know what your child needs. So it's very important that that the parent, you have to understand the different levels. You can't just think, oh, well, this is my child's diagnosis and this is what my child needs to be successful. Because we're talking about in a school setting. We're not talking about at your house. We're talking about it in a school setting. So your job as the parent is to understand, how does this translate to help my child? That is your responsibility. That is not the school's job. That's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to educate yourself on what will be best for your child. You have to understand the laws, DOE, Department of Education. You have to understand the need and the diagnoses. And then you have to understand how that can implement. So it's a trifecta, right? It's a triangle. Ginger. Hold on, y'all. Let me go close this door, because if I say ginger one more time, it's ridiculous. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Ginger, get your behind. Go. Sit down somewhere. Move, girl. Under my feet. Okay, I'm back, y'all. Crisscross applesauce. I sit like this all the time. But so you have to understand all three of those things in order to be able to make to create an effective IEP. But you as the parent have to understand all of those things. You cannot just show up to these IEP meetings and don't have a clue. All you know is your child's school grades. What does your child need? How does your child learn at home? Because I'm going to tell you, those little things that you do when you're doing homework with them, or you're doing an assignment, right? Something the teacher has sent home. When you're doing that work with them, the little things that you do that help them to retain, to help them get it, right? For the light bulb to go off. Those things are important, because the teacher does not get that much one-on-one engagement with your student, with your child, because, and we are in a smaller area. So some areas numbers are higher than this, but there's 24 other children in Zane's classes. Now they change classes. Zane has 3 different teachers, right? When they rotate, one for ELA, one for math, one for science and social studies. They rotate throughout the day, right? To their different classes, their specials, whatever. You have to know what it is your child needs, because that teacher doesn't get that exposure with them. The teacher doesn't get to sit and talk to your child one-on-one for an uninterrupted amount of time, because there's other children. They have to watch those other kids. I would hate for it to be my child wasn't getting watched because the teacher was spending time with the other kid. Baby, listen, and it's 25 of them in the class total. Baby, I'll be stressed out, and it ain't but one here. And I remember when my adult children, the 6 of them was little. Listen, the 6 of them were little, and I couldn't imagine 25. Let's be clear. So it's really an unfair expectation to expect the teacher to understand those little nuances, especially, think about it this way too. We had the annual IEP meeting today, right? We're in March. It's March the 11th. Zane's next school year doesn't come till August of 2025. That's when he's going to get new teachers who don't know him at all. So the IEP has to make complete sense regarding Zane's needs so that the new teachers, no matter who they are, when they read this legally binding document, they know Zane. They know what he needs. They know his diagnoses. They know his medical things, whether it's his asthma, his toe walking, these different, they know it because it's all in the IEP. And it's your job as the parent to know what your child's needs are, one. And two, to make sure that what is written in that IEP gives that child the best chance to win, to be successful. Ginger, I'm on live. You have a good day too? Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Y'all know when two come in, I'm speaking. I don't care if I'm on live or not. You want to say hey to our friends, Jonah? You got to take a nap. You got to lay down. So listen, y'all, Jonah, y'all know them little people need naps. Jonah don't like to take no nap. He like to go like the Energizer Bunny. Come here. What you chewing on? Come here. Uh-oh, you spit it out. Okay. Close the door so I don't have to get up again and fight with Ginger. I love you, Jonah. I love it. I love being abuela. Y'all, I love it. I love it. It's the best title yet. Anyway, so you have to make sure that this is, and in order to know what it is your child needs, it means you have to be involved. You have to work with your child. I know it's not easy, especially if your child needs an IEP. There's some type of diagnosis or situation that prevents them from being able to learn like the average person. Okay, we just gotta be clear about what's going on here. So if you as the parent who has time to be one-on-one or to work with the student, your child, if you don't know what they need, how fair is it to expect the school to know what they need or to provide it? The thing about an IEP and an IEP that is well written and works is the IEP is able to be operated and optimized at home and school. Because listen, in the middle of home and school is the same kid, the exact same kid who learns the same, does the same, has the same expectations. The exact same kid is here in the middle between home and school. So both home and school have to be similar environments for the child to thrive and learn, because repetition is important for learning certain things, especially early on, like learning sight words, learning spelling, vocabulary words, all of that stuff, letter sounds, learning each letter to recognize the letter. And then what sound does that letter? Like those are all things that start early in school, pre-K. However, these are all things that you do at home as well. If the only exposure to learning is what your child is getting at school, you're doing your child a disservice. Hey, Hey, Jennifer. Hey. I just had to take my husband to the ER. The doctor thinks he had a heart attack. No, Jennifer. Please let me know what they say. I'm so sorry. Please let me know what they say about your husband. Oh, Lord, I'm so sorry. I do hope everything is okay, though. Oh, my God. I hate that for y'all. I'm so sorry, Jennifer. I'm sorry that y'all going through that, but please keep me up to date on what is going on. So make sure that if you think your child has a need or the school has said, listen, your child, one, I encourage you to go get private testing done. I don't care what the schools say. Go get private testing done. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when the school does the testing or they are looking at your child, they're only looking for things that affect them academically. They don't look at all the things. They only look at them at school. When you do private testing, the private psychiatrist is going to send paperwork to the school, to the teachers, to other people to fill out, as well as you. And the psychiatrist will do some testing and engage with the child. So that is the biggest difference in private testing versus school testing. If it does not, for instance, Zane, privately, he does PT, OT, and speech and language. At school, he only does speech and language. Okay? Because they don't see the need. He used to get OT at school, right? But once they realized that he could, once he started with, because he used to write with his hand up and he wouldn't hold the pencil, a lot of pressure. He has a lot of sensory issues due to the autism and ADHD. It brings a lot of sensory things, right? So it was always an issue with the pencil and him holding the pencil, putting enough pressure on the pencil for it to write all these things. So Zane did OT, but once he got in occupational therapy where he could keep his wrist down, hold his writing utensil correctly, and then they dropped him from OT, right? Because they said, okay, he just needs to write with a pen because he doesn't put enough pressure. However, that's the only issue. So we're just having him write with a pen and it's done. So they didn't see the need for OT any further. However, Zane goes to occupational therapy privately. So what they are assessing for and what is going to sell off the bills, right? So that they began to help, they may not meet what the school district requires. But that doesn't mean they don't need those services. Because the school is only school focused. Listen, this so sorry, y'all. My Wi-Fi going out. That's what keep happening. So make sure that you are being your child's advocate at every step. And to be a quality advocate will require you to have knowledge, understanding, and be able to implement the things needed, because you have to be able to do it at home. And what works at home is what's needed at school. So when you go into this IEP meeting, what happens is the school says, you say, okay, my draft, right, says Zane needs, for instance, one of the things we added today was Zane, the cafeteria, he's overwhelmed sometimes in the cafeteria. And he's overstimulated. So that I brought it up today in the meeting about him getting pulled out of the cafeteria 10 minutes earlier than the other students, so that he can have some time to just pull himself together and not be so overwhelmed from the noise and the chaos of other kids in the cafeteria. Baby, it's the cafeteria at the school. It's crazy in there. Well, when I brought it up, because we had not talked about it previously, but I've talked to Zane. But Zane doesn't want some of the kids, they were saying, they at lunchtime go and eat lunch in different places. They don't eat in the cafeteria because of the noise. Well, for Zane, because of our conversation that I've had with him, he doesn't not want to go to lunch with his friends. Remember, I told y'all he's a social butterfly. He doesn't not want to go to lunch with his friends. It just gets to be too much after so long. So I had to communicate that effectively with the team, the teachers and things today, so that we can give him what he needs so that he can be his best at school, right? They didn't even have a clue that Zane was having a hard time or that bothered him, because they don't have time to know. But see, I know, because Zane say, my head hurts sometimes. Some days my stomach hurts after lunch. Okay, those are all signs of anxiety or you being overstimulated. Your body is under stress when there's no other reason for that to be going on. So then as the mom, I got to ask more questions to help solve the problem, right? You become little Nancy Drew. You got to investigate. You can't sit up here and wait on the school to do it, because they're not going to. They hadn't even, two of his teachers were in the meeting today, and they hadn't even correlated those two things with, you know what, he does ask to go a lot, or not all the time, but it is often when he says his head hurts or he asked to go to the clinic because he doesn't feel good. It is after lunch. Okay, little teamwork. We gonna make it work. So today it got put in his IEP for him to get that 10-minute break. So guess what? Now the school is now responsible to make sure Zane gets it, his little 10 minutes, to make sure that he's feeling okay. That's how it works. Now, every kid don't need that. Every kid don't want that. Like I said, some kids, they don't go in the cafeteria at all because it's so overstimulating in there. But for Zane, he wants to go. He just needs to get out a few minutes early so he can gather his own self together, because Zane has to learn to self-regulate. I might die tomorrow. I might not be here. So I have to implement these things so that he can learn for himself what he needs to do. Right? Parenting. I tell people all the time, it's the toughest job is being a quality parent. It's real easy to just be a parent. But to be a quality parent, an involved parent, a knowing parent, baby, that's a job. It takes work. It just do. And so it you can't expect the people at the school to take the time to figure these little things out. That's really your responsibility as the parent. It's not the school job to do that. It is what it is. You don't have to like it. You don't got to agree with it, but that's the truth. It is your job to make sure your child is okay. It is the school's job to make sure all 25 of them kids in that classroom are safe. But when you're dealing on a big scale, the priorities change. So you're here to make sure these kids are safe, make sure that it's a learning environment. Zane doesn't have any behavior issues, but Zane also is the kid who is very irritated by other kids who can't sit in their seat, by other kids that the teacher has to tell them, be quiet, stop talking, pay attention. Zane does not have any understanding of why those kids can't just follow the rules, because it's very clear. These are the rules and why we're not following them. Everybody, right? That's part of that autism thing. Like, listen, it's what it is, not do it, you know. And which that in itself leads to meltdowns and things with Zane, because it's overwhelming to him because he can't figure it out, the processing part of it. So, but these are all the things that we talk about in the IEP meeting, because the teachers have to understand. In Zane's IEP is about his asthma, and Zane cannot describe to you when he is having an asthma attack. So the teacher talking about the signs and symptoms. No, take that out of there, because classic signs and symptoms for you beginning to have an asthma attack and need to use your rescue inhaler don't necessarily mean you're blue in the face around the lips. It doesn't mean that you're gasping for air. That is a full asthma exacerbation, right? You have it. You need oxygen and the ER and those types of things. A rescue inhaler ain't gonna help at that point. So I had to make sure that there was a precise and clear understanding about what Zane's needs were. Good morning, Blicky. How you doing, beautiful? So I had to make sure that there was a clear understanding, because you're talking about signs and symptoms. And I reminded them, you're talking about signs and symptoms from an educator standpoint. Do you even know what an asthma attack that requires the rescue inhaler looks like? Because it doesn't necessarily look like what you thinking an asthma attack gonna look like. When an asthma attack start, or you getting started, all it is a little tightening in your chest. So I had to make sure they understood that I have taught Zane, big boy, listen. Because Zane will say, my throat hurts. What, does it hurt when you swallow, or is it tight, like when you try to breathe? So you got to ask them follow-up questions, because Zane doesn't process things. He has 3 diagnoses that affect the way his brain processes information. So you have to ask him very specific questions, not look for signs and symptoms. This isn't a asthma 101 class. We're talking about my child. Let's be clear. So I had to make sure that they rewrote that and worded it correctly, so that the teachers, one, don't try to figure shit out, because I don't need you to figure shit out. I need you to send my baby to the nurse, because that's what he said. He said he need to go to the clinic. Send him. Don't be asking no bunch of questions. Send him. He got an inhaler in the clinic, because they can't remember all the steps to do due to the apraxia. he doesn't remember all the steps to use his inhaler correctly. So he has to use it in the nurse's station. That's another thing. The longer you sit up here asking damn questions, the more likely this is to get further along in this asthma attack, to where he now is having exacerbation, right? So we don't want to do that. When he say he need to go to the clinic, just let him go. Like his other teacher in there said, she said, he's not one just to leave class or just say, she said, when he asked to go, I let him go. Thank you. Let the nurse, the medical professional, figure out what the fuck going on. And she'll let me know. You overstepping, you were the teacher. Now, so let's get this worded and right in this IEP. Because this is a legally binding contract. If it's not written correctly, I can't hold y'all ass to the fire, and y'all can't hold me to the fire. You can't hold the other person accountable for what they said they'll do if the IEP is not well written. If your child has an IEP or a 504, those are the two most important documents at the school. It just is. So make sure that you are, that's why getting that draft is important. Because when you see it, or if you keep an IEP like I do, I just make a copy and then scribble all over it. However, I don't have to remember. Zane has 11 accommodations, right? In his IEP, there are 11 accommodations. I'm going to scan it and pull it up so I can I want to share it. I'm going to share Zane's IEP. And I want to talk about it in detail because I feel like this is so important, but where do you learn, right? When's the last time you heard someone talk about how to write an IEP? When is the last time you heard about how to accommodate or a draft? Most people don't even know you can request a draft of the IEP prior to the meeting. But with that draft, sorry, I was driving and couldn't respond. Thank you, April. Okay, love, that's just keep me posted, please. Please. Because I'm going to be worried. I'm going to be concerned and want to know what and how. Okay? So, please let me know. So, you ask for the draft because the draft is all of the things. It's the whole IEP. So then you can read. You can look up stuff. Like, I don't have to look up as much now, but Zane is going into 5th grade. He's had an IEP since pre-K. Even when we was doing Florida virtual school, he had an IEP. So when you see the draft, you can see the verbiage. You can see what they're saying. You can Google dictionary. See, I like to look in books. Y'all know I'm old school. I ain't have Google growing up. So I learned how to do real research in a real book. So I got all kind of books around here. But you have to understand, but you got to teach yourself. There ain't nobody out here teaching you. There's nobody out here showing you. They're not. The school is not, listen. The school will never call you in and do an IEP writing course. The school is never going to call you in. And I don't care if it's public or private school. I don't care if you're paying for tuition or not. They're never going to call you in and say, hey, here's a list of things your child can get. Which of these do you check the boxes that you want your kid to have? They don't do that. Because if they did that for one student, for one parent, they'd have to do it across the board. And they don't want us. I said they don't want us having all of that knowledge and understanding, because then we're going to hold them accountable. Good morning, Miss Lisa. How you doing? So we got to see, the less knowledge you have, the less accountability you expect. Okay? So you as the parent are responsible for your children, not that damn school. That what? They're not. And more parents have gotten to have to take their children's education, their children's well-being more serious. You cannot wait on the school to do it for you. You can't. Why would you play with your precious commodity, your child, like that? And I get it. You might not have any understanding. You might not know any of this stuff, but you can learn. And it's your fault if you don't. You are failing your children if you don't understand, if you don't find somewhere. So what I have made my mind up to do is one of the things, and I would, we talked about a couple of things I'm going to implement on Koffee and Kief. But one of the things I'm going to do is we are going to one day a week, we are going to talk about how to advocate for your children. I'm going to find a topic, a subject. Somebody may send me something they want to talk about. They may have a question about an IEP. You may have a question about anything. But we are going to dive one day a week into being a quality advocate for your children. And we're going to do it every week because there is so much that as the parent you should be doing. And most parents aren't. Like I said, your child is home with you. When they're at the school, they got 24 classmates. That teacher looking at 25 kids and they smiling, beautiful faces. There's no way she can work with each of them one-on-one in a 50-minute class. Your expectation, parent, is out of order. Okay? You want the teachers that you had, but there's 25 kids in this class, not 15, like used to be. It is not their responsibility to do anything except show up to that school and present the information that the state said they got to present to your children. That's their only responsibility, and to make sure your kid is safe. That's it. Right. The people at the school don't care because they don't. And the truth is, you know what though, Miss Lisa, I don't think it. Now, for some of them, let's be clear, they just don't give a damn, baby. They just there for a check, right? But I think that with these new standards, all of these tests that these kids have to pay, these standardized tests that they have to take, it is so rigorous, the information. And this is in every state. The way that they have to teach, the teacher really doesn't even have a say-so in the information or how it's presented. They have to present it exactly how the standards say they have to. They have to present it exactly when the standards say present it. So they give them a whole list of, you got to cover this, 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 and this on this day. If the teacher doesn't get that covered, then they're in trouble. So they have to cover it. My child and most children are not going to retain just that teaching. You have to reinforce at home. You have to teach at home. Because I'm telling y'all now, and I said this at the beginning, if I was making $30,000 a year, that's it. And you want me to do all of what? With how many damn children? Who that wouldn't overwhelm? It's really unfair. And then there's a shortage of teachers. So you can't even push the idea of let's do smaller classrooms. Let's get more teachers. Baby, there's a shortage of teachers. Where you going to get them from? Where is you going to get a teacher from? Now you up here, listen, you done sent your baby to the daycare, free daycare, because of public school. A lot of people I've heard it referred to as that, so I'm going to refer to it as that. Your children at the daycare, right, for those 6-7 hours, depending they ride the bus or you pick them up, right? You done had a break. Why, when them kids come home, you don't have nothing to pour into them? You don't have time to be bothered. You know why? Because your ass was in bed the whole 6 hours they was at school. Why wasn't you up doing what you want to do for you so you can be a quality parent when they get home? No, you want to lay down, take a nap. Okay. Well, when you get up from that nap, remember, it's not about you. It's time to be a parent. And I say parent because, listen, it's as many single fathers as it is single mothers. It's 2-parent homes that ain't doing shit with their kids when they come home from school. So it really doesn't matter. This is for parents. Because I don't look at statistics. I look at what the hell really go on. And some of everybody ain't quality parents. There's 2-parent household where the kids are out of damn control. Ain't no structure at home. The kids doing what they want to do at school. It's the mess. Listen, it don't matter. So this for parents. If you a parent, your first priority is your child. You had them. They didn't have you. Stop making excuses for why your ass ain't doing what you should do. Stop passing the buck. Stop blaming the school. Now listen here. I done told y'all the beginning of this. I had to go to administration and the district office about Zane because I was like, I got in writing this teacher not following the IEP. Now you want to speak to my attorney? But the reason I could do that is because I'm a quality parent. But there's also things I've learned and I've had to learn. And I know that some people may not know where to start. They may be in a very bad situation where they don't know where to even get the information. So listen, we're going to go over the IEP ourselves together. I'm going to scan it in. I'm going to pull it up on this screen and we're going section by section and we're going to talk about it. I want to make sure that everyone who is here or see this or replay this, you going to have a little bit of knowledge and understanding. So then you can choose to implement shit. Now, I'm a firm believer. People going to get the information, ain't going to do shit with it. People do that every day. I'm used to it. Remember, I was active duty, baby. I understand leadership. I've been a leader, a real leader. Like a real leader. Hundreds of people under me, not 3 or 4. So I know everybody ain't going to take it and use it to benefit or help them. I know that. But what you do with the information is up to you, baby. All I can do is pass the word. And then when I tell you what you do with it, your business. You don't ask any follow-up questions. You don't got that, baby. I don't know. That's your business because you an adult. But I'll tell you this, and I don't give a damn what nobody say. Any parent that doesn't want to be a better parent for the betterment of their children ain't shit. And I said it. You ain't shit. I mean it. I don't give a damn. I ain't finna mix no words. If you don't want to do something that will better your children, you ain't shit as a parent. Period. And it's a whole lot of ain't shit parents these days. You know, I had 2 of them growing up here. I aged out of foster care. So my mother nor my father wanted my ass. So, it's nothing new. What is new is people like me point fingers and tell them you ain't shit parent. You a ain't shit parent. I'll tell somebody fast, I don't care. People around me are quality parents. Because if you think for 1 second you're going to sit by me and I'm not going to check your ass, don't come sit over here. Because if you out of order, or you in my tribe, and I see you is just out of order, or you not being your best self, I'm going to ask you the why. I ain't going to judge you. I ain't never judged nobody, because listen here, I done did some shit. I don't judge nobody. I don't care what it's about. Baby, listen. That what you chose to do, and that was a bullshit ass move. Now I'll say that. But you have to, I'm not gonna have no one around me that ain't shit. I just ain't that type of person. Not in my tribe. Now you may be on the parameter. I don't really care about those people. I'm talking about the people close to me. Because I want you to be your best self. And if you love me, I hope you want me to be my best self. And if you're a parent, you had them, they did not have you. So you should do what you're supposed to do and be a quality parent. I don't play about that shit, baby. I ain't got no understanding in my heart, mind, or soul about you ain't shit parent. I ain't got no understanding for it. I don't. There's never a reason. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. Good morning, Tamara. Hey, beautiful. I don't care. I don't care what you have material-wise. I don't care where you're at emotionally, mentally, physically. I don't care. I don't care. If you're a parent, there's a way to be a parent. Now, we might not all do everything the same way. Discipline, the little subtitles might look different for each of us. But quality parents will have the exact same appearance. And there will be common threads between them. Okay? Now you yelling at your kid if you's a parent that beat their ass. Listen, let me tell you something. Them first 6, the ones that's grown, because y'all know the youngest of our adult children will be 23 in July. I said that he gonna be 23. Javier will be in July. When I tell you, baby, listen, I tear their ass up. They know what belts, switches, shoes, spoons. Baby, I don't play. I throw something across the room. I cannot parent like that with Zane. One, I don't got that type of energy no more. I done got older. I'm finna be 48, baby. I ain't got that type of energy. I ain't in my 20s. I'm tired. 2, Zane could not process discipline like that, right? So you have to parent your kids how you see fit, and that's up to you, baby. As long as they ain't getting abused, baby, do it your way. That's how I feel about it. I don't mind no other people's business. However, if your child going to that schoolhouse and showing out every damn day, you's a piss poor parent. Period. You was an ain't shit parent. Because it starts at home. And if your child is having a behavior issues and you don't understand the why, it is your job as the parent to get your primary care, your pediatrician on board and figure out what is going on. What you waiting on the school for? Why? Then you mad talking about the school just don't want to do nothing with your child. No. It ain't the child of school. Let me tell you something about school. The people at the school probably ain't even upset with the child. It's you that they pissed off with. It's you they sick of because you parent. What are you doing? What are you doing to help the situation? What are you doing? Because I'm going to tell you what I know. If a child is a behavior issue like that, it's one or two things. Ain't shit going on at home, or there's a diagnosis needs to be made. It's one of two things. Kids are not naturally bad. Either it's their environment or it's a diagnosis. It's one of them two things. Let's just be real. But them the type of conversations we're going to have on our advocating, and we going to be good quality parents. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to address. We're going to handle the IEP. I'm going to give you the tools, and I'm going to give you the availability to ask questions. But we're going to learn. We're going to gain knowledge, understand it, and then we're going to implement it. I get it. I understand. And there's some people out there want to know and they just don't know. Okay, I'm finna give you what you're looking for. I'm finna give it to you. Like I said, I'm going to upload Zane's IEP and we're going to go over it. We're going to talk about his accommodations. I'm going to break them down, what them accommodations look like. Why is this accommodation here? Why is it worded that way? So then as you hear or you're experiencing things with your child, you'll be like, oh, I heard that. Wait a minute. So let me see if we can put this in his IEP and this accommodation. Does this help him? Does this help me when we're at home? I'm following the same accommodations that the school is following. So therefore, the child is learning and understanding their accommodations. So they're able to advocate for themselves as they get older. See, there's levels to this. And it starts very early and you increase as they get older. But you as the parent got to be willing to even have the knowledge and understanding. You have to be able to implement the things. That's it. That's all. And I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to make Wednesdays our don't be an ain't shit parent. I don't know what we're going to call it, but we're going to talk about it. I think Wednesdays will be a good day to do that. After Zane has his therapy, and then we can just talk about it. Or I might do Tuesdays. I'm going to get to it. But Tamara said, yep, I heard a teacher say when they meet some of the parents, they understand why the kids act like they do. Yes. Listen, I have several friends. My very best friend has been in education, and she's an ESE teacher. She has been her entire education career. She's been in ESE. That's what she went to school for intentionally. So she has always dealt with that. And I have several other teachers. I got some that teach in public school. I got some in private school. I got some that teach virtual schools. At virtual schools, maybe I got friends in education. And they're not all in Florida. So it's the truth, though. You think about it. It's the same way for us as people. Y'all ever your kids played a sport, right? Like a recreational sport, right? Whether it's baseball, softball, volleyball, basketball, running track, soccer, all of these things our kids did. The first 6, they did all of this. Football, whatever, cheerleading, gymnastics, whatever it is, where they're doing something where it's a group of peers, of their peers. There's always those children, when you see their parents, you be like, yeah, that makes perfect damn sense. It's always. That ain't being judgy. However, I see, I observe, and I made a verified statement. I ain't judging, but it is a verified statement. Can you prove me wrong? Okay. Right? So it's just it makes sense. It is, but we are, as a nation, as people, the children are just being thrown away. They not being heard. We have got, you want your children to have, and this is the problem, one of the biggest problems, I believe. You have your children being exposed to all of these things via the internet. Because your child is watching Netflix, they watching streaming services. Your child is on their iPad, your child on their phone, your child on YouTube Kids, your child doing whatever. So there's this great increase in exposure for children. However, the parents still want their kids to sit in a corner and be seen and not heard. Again, when someone gets exposed to information and they begin to gain knowledge, and then it transitions to you understanding it, then you're able to implement it, right? If you're giving your children, if these young people are getting all of this knowledge, who is helping them? Because they're kids. There's not a child out there. Listen, until you're about 25, you don't process shit right. I don't care if nobody say that's the truth, baby. When you're about 25, 30, that's when you start processing what's really going on around you. That's just the truth. But they're getting all of this exposure, all of this knowledge, but they're never being taught to understand or implement it. And guess what? That's our responsibility as the parents. The school didn't give them the internet access. So why is the church didn't give them internet access? The president didn't give them internet access. The Department of Education didn't give them internet access. So how in the hell is it any of their responsibility to make sure that that knowledge is understood and can be implemented if necessary, or just dismissed because it's some bullshit? Because some knowledge ain't what you gonna hold on that for? That's crazy. That ain't even right. But I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's Tuesday. Thank y'all for coming and joining me on Koffee and Kief with your girl April. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is Therapy Wednesday. So I'm going to probably be going live in the car while BSB driving us over there. But I will see y'all in the morning for Koffee and Kief. Bye.